My name is Zhandos Seit. I'm 34 years old. I live in the city of Almaty, but I'm a native of the city of Qazaq, Karaganda region. I'm married. We have 3 children. I'm doing sewing business in Almaty. In 2009, I decided to help our Zhandos Seit's charitable foundation. I wanted to test myself. In a way, I guess I wanted to help people from the bottom of my heart. Therefore, I came to work for the foundation. And since 2009, I joined the ranks of volunteers. You all know that 2020 has been declared the Year of the Volunteer. As we all remember, in March 2020, the coronavirus pandemic came to Kazakhstan. Since then, as a volunteer, I tried to help the citizens of Kazakhstan and the residents of Almaty as much as I could. If the cost for ordinary masks was always 30 tenge, at the time of the peak of the pandemic, their price went up to 300 tenge. First of all, it was wrong from a human point of view, because it was hard for people. Some families could not afford to buy even one mask. After all, they were left without work. It hurt both my friends and me. We came up with the idea of sewing masks. These masks were sewn by seamstresses. But since it was a charity project, they sold it at a very low cost. Second of all, after many people saw the activities of our charitable society, I'm an Almaty resident, on social networks, and learned that we were sewing masks, they began to contact us and said that they were ready to help us to sew masks too. We began to provide them with fabrics and threads. They sewed, and we delivered ready-made masks to those in need. Thus, a lot of people began to help us on a charitable basis. My friends, volunteers, and I are registered in the public association I'm an Almaty resident. Together we participate in any event where our aid is needed. When the country needed support, our team of volunteers lend a helping hand to people without a second thought. For example, in 2015, when there was a mud flow in Almaty Nauruzbay district, together with volunteers whom we met on social networks, we gathered and decided to help in every way we could. Thus, since 2015, we got to know other volunteers and altogether participated in other events. Last year, during the pandemic, my friends and I delivered food to the poor, disabled, and veterans in the city of Almaty. All Almaty residents collected grocery baskets. We loaded and delivered groceries to the elderly. Many volunteers joined us and helped the elderly, each contributing to a common cause. My company sewed masks for free for medical workers, police officers, disabled people, and veterans. I can say that as a volunteer, I've been a part of so many emergency situations in various ways. I transported food in my car as an auto volunteer. I was there when help was needed to load and unload things from trucks. For example, several years ago, when there was an explosion in the city of Aris, we together with other volunteers brought food, clothing, and basic necessities from Almaty to people in trouble. We escorted trucks with 8 tons of humanitarian aid to Shymkent and from there to Aris. When we were finally allowed to enter the city of Aris, we worked with our hands, with shovels. We helped as best as we could. As a volunteer, you witness a lot of things. You communicate with sick children, with fire victims, with people who have lost their loved ones. Therefore, the most difficult thing in our work is the psychological aspect. We have to see unpleasant things. For example, my friends from the Public Association Aman Almaty Citizens went to help the victims of the plane crash in Bishkek. They saw bodies of the dead. It was very difficult and painful to witness such events. But there's also a good feeling when you receive gratitude from those you helped. As a volunteer, I learned a lot. When the mud flow happened in the city, I learned to work with a shovel. There are other organizational aspects that I have learned. I can control myself in the most extreme situations. This is very important because I learned how to provide first aid. This is a must for volunteers. I've learned to communicate with people. In our work, communication is a key aspect. There are times when you bring humanitarian aid to people. They perceive it ambiguously. They do not understand you. And in this kind of cases, it is very important to find the right words to convince them of your intentions. In a way, I learned how to communicate effectively. In fact, my life has changed a lot. I've met very good people. We're still friends with the volunteers with whom we work together, and frankly, volunteering has helped me in business as well. People know me as a volunteer, therefore, they come to me when they need something. I think that the help of each volunteer, his efforts should come from the heart. You cannot force a person to become a volunteer. It should be a sincere wish of a person himself. His desire to help others should come from his heart. Then he can become a volunteer. We work voluntarily and do not expect gratitude from people. We do this at our own will, according to our inner feelings. If someone shakes hands with us and says thank you, we're pleased. But if they don't even thank us, we don't take it into account. This is our work. We do this first of all for ourselves. My friends and I, we do not want to give up this activity. When something bad happens and our help is needed, we rush there. My family, my mother, my wife, and children support my volunteer work. They motivate me, empathize with me when I get a little tired. They try to cheer me up and help in everything. I teach my children to help others as much as they can, and I always tell them about it. They're small at the moment, but I hope that when they grow up, they will be ready to be of service to people. After all, the desire to be a volunteer must come from the soul, from the heart of a person. When a person has a desire to help, he will help. As a citizen of society, in order for our country to prosper and develop, I think it is necessary to educate children in this spirit. The volunteers do not need help from the state. The volunteers know their job well. There are a lot of unions similar to Aman Almaty Citizen Union in this country. We are volunteers who can do our job on our own. The state itself needs to help itself. For example, when there was a mud flow in the Norizbay district of Almaty, the servicemen from the Ministry of Defense were sent to Almaty in order to resolve issues with the consequences of the disaster. They were without food for 3 days, they did not have water, and did not know what to do. And we came to their aid. We and the residents of the city of Almaty provided water, and the restaurateurs of the city of Almaty gathered and installed a field kitchen. Every day they prepared and provided the military personnel and residents who suffered from the disaster with food. Therefore, the government should first and foremost care about its civil servants. They need to understand how to organize such moments. Everyone has the right to decide for himself if and when he wants to become a volunteer. A volunteer is a person who comes to volunteering on his own free will and works as he wishes. For example, in our country, there are often cases when representatives of city councils or other state bodies force students to volunteer. These are not volunteers. They do that because of the pressure coming from curators or teachers and say that they're volunteers. These are not true volunteers. Each person should have a desire to help from the heart. Then he can be called a volunteer. I have friends who, being citizens of Kazakhstan, collected funds here in Kazakhstan to dig a well for drinking water in one of the villages of Africa. This is volunteering. Therefore, it is not necessary to be a member of any public organization or association in order to become a volunteer. Every person can become one. I believe in people. Any person is good until he shows his bad side. The duty of any person is to help another person, to support him, and I believe in it.